on to the second panel discussion with the topic Resolutions Against Sophisticated Malware Attacks. I would now like to invite our panel speakers. A great round of applause for Colonel Dr. Inderjit Singh, who is the CCO of Vara Technology Private Limited. He is working in cybersecurity space for securing IT networks, smart cities, and critical information infrastructure, cyber forensics. He's also working on some of the out-of-box blockchain and NFT solutions. A great round of applause, please. Also, he's a TEDx speaker and has been training law enforcement agencies, colleges, and masses on protection against cybercrimes. Moving forward, our next panel speaker, we have Dr. Rajesh Kumar Pal ji, who is the founder and director of Mobisec Technologies Group. Over the last 5 years in IAF-CERT, he led teams of cybersecurity professionals involved in SOC, cyber incident handling, and cyber deterrence operations. As director of IAF-CERT, he even received the Certificate of Excellence Award from the Honorable Prime Minister of India in 2019 for improving cybersecurity posture of IAF through remote audit tool, which was also designed and developed in-house and implemented over 65,000 endpoints. A great round of applause, please. Our next panelist, we have Mr. Anwaya Bilas Sengupta, who's the manager and IT and regional CISO, POSOCO, and ERLDC. He has more than 25 years of experience in various fields of power system, including substation commissioning, relay testing, and PLCC to implementation of SCADA and IT infrastructure in load dispatch center, with more than 12 years in the field of information security and cybersecurity controls for power utilities. Sir, can we please have you on stage? A great round of applause, please. I would now also like to invite on stage Mr. Saurabh Gupta, who's also the Group Chief Digital and Information Officer of Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited. He is also a chartered accountant and an MBA. A great round of applause, please. Our next panelist, do we have Mr. Ganesh Viswanathan here? Okay. So next we have our Commander Mukesh Saini, who's the VP-ExeStat Senior Advisor, Cybersecurity and Privacy, Amtrak Lab Systems and iRisk Assurance. A great round of applause, please. And now I would be requesting our moderator, Colonel Inderjit Singh to please start the session.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone, and really wonderful discussion since morning. And the way the discussions are happening, really it's a real-time discussions, real challenges which have been talked about, and very interesting panel discussions in the morning, plus the opening sessions what we had today. And the very panel discussion what we are now going to do is resolutions of the sophisticated malware attacks, and malwares are everywhere today. And while we are talking, we are having ransomware attacks every 11 seconds. Now, there is a study which is already on, and there it says that you're going to have a ransomware attack every 3 seconds by 2030. Just see how it's going to be. And why it's become so interesting, because there is money attached to it, there's a cryptocurrency which is attached to it, and hackers are having a free run right now because we are not geared up for these kind of attacks. Our law enforcement agencies are really not geared up for these kind of attacks to handle and catch the criminals. And I have real, a panel which is there, a very interesting panel with me with diverse experiences, and going to be talking about the malware attacks, what they see, look at it. And just to tell you, when we talk of the ransomware attacks, the actual ransomware attack is being, done by the malware initially, and because the ransomware piggybacks the malware to get into the network. So malwares practically are not going away. We are seeing a kind of malwares which are fileless malwares, which really are troubling ones, and that's how we are seeing the complete ecosystem of cyber attacks happening right now. So as an opening remark, I will just give it to all my panelists who are there as to what do they understand and how they look at the malware attacks which are happening right now in their own areas of expertise. Over to you, Rajesh.
As we all understand, the term malware has various forms, and we all are aware about it. It's a code basically which is notorious, which is doing something ill actually. Maybe it is doing some sort of a stealing, or it is causing some damage to a person, to an enterprise, or maybe even to a state also. So if you look at the journey of the malware, as of now, the malwares which we have, they are highly sophisticated. However, how the journey started actually, I'll just take 2 minutes to just take you through its very interesting journey. It all started in 1971, by the time I was not born. And it was in ARPANET where Bob Thomas, he wrote a creeper actually. It was basically a proof of concept. Then after around 11 years in 1982, the first virus for Mac was written by a 15-year-old. And it was also a sort of a POC only. It was on the master boot record. And then the virus, it was written in 1986. It originated from Pakistan, as you all are aware. It was by the Alvi brothers. So incidentally, this was written as a measure of anti-piracy. They were actually into the medical software, and they made that in such a way that if anybody is copying that software, their software, so this malware will get installed, and what they were doing is a message was being displayed. They had replaced one sector in the master boot record, and as a result, the system would not boot up, and a message will be displayed where they will be asked, the user will be asked to contact these Alvi brothers, and they did receive a lot of calls. So it originated from there. However, all of this was more from a fun perspective. It was not very malicious intent was not there. It was just to test other things and then to move forward. And as we progress, like as things improved, so in 1988, the first worm was written actually, which is called as Morris worm. I think many of you must be aware about. And that time, the capability of self-propagating was developed there, which was different from the viruses. So you can see, like from the proof of concept to this ability, it was there. And then we move forward, like the first ransomware, it was somewhere in 1989, where it was written by Dr. Pops. And it was distributed through the CDs, 20,000 CDs, the floppy disk, they were circulated across the world. And when a person was running it, like a message will come, and the computer will be infected, and they will be asked to actually send some money. So it was sort of a ransom. So from there, all these things kept happening, and then from 2005, the crime part of the malware started actually. People started using it into the malware for the financial gains, for the financial advantages. They were there. So, and in 2010, its use of these malwares by the state actors, it actually started. The weaponization actually had happened. So, as you are all aware that Stuxnet you must have heard of. So that happened in 2010, and that had got these fantastic capabilities where various type of vulnerabilities were exploited. It had the capability to persist, and from there, all these malicious things have started. And now we are in a stage where like in 2017, Dr. Das has talked about WannaCry. So WannaCry, Petya, and all these ransomwares actually originated from there. And now the scenario is, it's becoming very, very difficult. It's very, very challenging for all the organizations to have the required security control where these things can be controlled. So it has been a fantastic, in the sense like it's a fantastic to see how things have grown and what level it has reached. Yeah. So I'll pass on to take views.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And Possibly, means a lot has been told already regarding what is malware, what is the history of malware. I would rather just, without going into the technicalities, the details, because most of you are the professionals over here, unlike me. So I see malware in this way, and basically, as I work in power utility, the way it is being affecting, I see malware in a way. If I don't know how many of you normally follows the day-to-day TV soaps and serials. In most of the TV soap and serial, you'll find there are people in the family who basically do a lot of things which is not intended to be done, and all other people, means even all the spectators of that soap serial knows that this is the person who is basically the culprit, and the people in the family also knows this is the person who is the culprit. But somehow he is hidden, somehow he or she is hidden, mostly he though, and somehow they are not been suitably identified, and it's very difficult to treat them. At least in our experience of handling the malware and then treating the malware is something like that, basically it's very difficult to say whether exactly pinpointing that, no, this is a malware. Because we have found that, as you know, there are, if you run 3 tools in your computer, one of the tool will find some thing as a malware, when other 2 tools won't. So it's basically, if we say in this way that, okay, there are certain programs, certain executable files, which is not intended to be there, which do not have any purpose to be there, or rather, which is impacting my system in a negative way, we have to treat that. And we can consider those as the malware.
Yeah, thank you, Colonel Inderjit, and thank you, Dr. Ramesh. So it was very interesting to know that the history of malware, and being so many years into this industry, I was not aware for this fact. So thank you so much. But I would tell you that still there is a lot of awareness, okay, which is not available. Okay, we being in corporate, and I am talking about a story maybe 12 years back, when the first time when I was working in my organization and I was heading the IT, okay, I experienced malware attack. It started with one single computer when someone reported. Okay, by the time the resident engineer saw, okay, they were also not aware. Okay, in 2 hours it infected 4 or 5 people, and by the end of the day, okay, it impacted half of the plant, or almost most of the plant. And by that time, that information came to me, and then we realized that, okay, there is a malware attack. It was 2010 or 11. Next incident was late of 2019. Okay, it was late night or maybe early morning, 4 o'clock. The central server got infected. Within 1 hour, I think 500 or 700 machines got infected. In 2 hours, 20,000 machines get infected. And then we were aware, okay, and we have to isolate the machines. This, I remember Sunday morning, early morning, 6 o'clock, okay, we have to send an engineer to the data center and isolated the servers. So this is the speed the malware gets spread out, and we being the custodian of the data center, servers, endpoints, it takes time for us to understand that, okay, there is a malware attack. So think of normal individuals, normal people, okay, they get fizzed, okay, they are not aware. They get aware, okay, maybe 1 day, 2 day, 3 day or 7 day afterwards. So there is lot of awareness that is required, okay, at both the ends, at the corporate ends and at the individual levels. And I am so glad to see Dr. Sanjay Das from West Bengal government He's running and doing this kind of awareness and Prime Infosec Foundation. So a lot of things to be learned about in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Inderjit, and thank you, the team. Okay, but the malwares today is not acted in a single malware comes. It is a bouquet. It is structured. They'll attack you, not one malware, but multiple of them. One which will create the backdoor, another which will carry out the communication, third one which will carry out infection, another one which will exfiltrate the information. So it is not single malware now. It is a multiple malware which will attack you, not just one. My association with cybersecurity goes back before year 2000. I was first National Information Security Coordinator where General Pant sits now. And we are talking of phishing way back in 2003. 2003 we are talking of phishing, and today we're finally realizing that people are making use of it.
Yeah, thank you. Really, good to hear that you are the National Security Advisor, and that was NSCS, sorry. So it's really wonderful and good to have you in a panel and hear from you. And some facts which are very interesting. One, what Commander Saini has brought it, the hackers today are not a lone wolf kind of thing. They're an organized group of hackers. They run it like a profit and loss company. Okay, they have programmers, they have servers, server guys, they have coders, they have marketing, they have HR, they are negotiators, they have cryptocurrency guys. So it's not one shoe fit all model. So everybody's doing a different thing. And any attack which happens practically opens up with a command and control center. So he's going to be looking into what's happening in your network and do whatever he wants. And like I brought it out that there are series of malwares which are there. It's not one malware which hits you and cumulates into a ransomware attack. It's a series of malwares, and then the ransomware attack actually happens. And that's what is called the initial access brokers. So it's a very interesting ecosystem which has evolved. And what my panelists have actually brought in is quite a bit of information about that. And I would like to jump on to the question as to how do we really prevent these kind of malware attacks from in an organization where they can try to mitigate it. So over to you, Rajesh.
Yeah. So we had seen what is malware. So how do we stop it actually? It takes me to one instance. Like I'll take the example of WannaCry. It was 2017, somewhere in May, I think 31st of May, or somewhere near that, or maybe 14th of May. I'm not very sure as of now. So the WannaCry was spreading actually. It was spreading very wild. It was infecting almost 150 countries. And we were also very suspicious as a country in the sense what will happen, because its implications were huge, and it was actually exploiting the SMB vulnerability which was there, which is used for like sharing in the Windows systems. So what we did actually, and how we can stop, how we can take care of all these things is, lesson one is the patches are released by Microsoft on every second Tuesday of the month. And for this, there was an emergency patch which was released on that night actually. So what we did as a team, while I was there at IF CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team for the IF, so we pushed that patch on all our machines and ensured that it gets pushed. That is one on the intranet, which we called as our AFNet. So that one measure we took. Secondly, we isolated the machines which were facing outside, like the internet-facing machines. So we isolated them. And we also applied the patches through that. So the point I want to make is, first of all, you have to keep your systems patch updated. There's no other way around it actually. So as soon as the patches are released, please ensure that all your systems, applications are patched. Then only you can be bit sure about it that what you are going to have is somewhat a robust security on it. So for other points, I'll pass on and then we'll take on furthermore. Yeah.
Yeah. Though as a panelist, I am not supposed to open the new Pandora's boxes, but as Sir has told, it opens up a very big, wild question that you have to patch your system. Fine. I'll come to our experiences of patching system, but before that, just to answer the question, first thing what we need to understand is whenever we say, okay, I need to secure something from some attack, I don't know whether, from some attack, maybe it's a malware. We need to understand how basically, what are the more probable ways that my system is getting infected. So I believe every one of you will acknowledge this fact that the most probable way my system gets infected is my lack of awareness. Basically, most of the time you'll find that the malwares are being, injected in your system through either phishing or maybe some other way where there are certain human dysfunctions are more prominent. Now, obviously, awareness, having more administrative control, these are certain things which will prevent or which may, at least minimize the chances of you getting attacked. Now, after that, obviously, once a malware is being implanted in your system, then how to deal with it, we will come again because there are other panelists who will also speak. But one point I would like to open up in the panelists, when we say, okay, you have to update your patch, you have to update your systems every day, and in industry, mainly in power utilities, at least that's our experience, where we have legacy SCADA systems. There, it's rather we should say it's impossible to update all your systems with latest patches, because ultimately the vendor won't support their. They will say my application won't support that Windows patches. You don't have, it's a real-time system where you don't have that much of a, chance to do tests, to make the system down. So there are a lot of interdependencies which don't allow you to update your patches in your OT system. So there the vulnerabilities are more. And it's very difficult to deal with all these things. Anyway, we'll come back to that also. Before I pass on to my other panelists for this.
Thank you. So I would like to mention one thing, that we all use smartphones, okay, and as in morning Dr. Charu was there, and she was mentioning that, okay, when we buy a smartphone, okay, the cyber security should start from there as a welcome note at the start of a smartphone. So another thing what I would like to share is when we are using a company owned smartphone or a company managed smartphone, so that is normally protected because we have MDM solutions, mobile device management solutions. But for our personal mobile phones or smartphones, are we really care about it, about the data protection or against any cybercrime? So friends, there are VPNs, there are free VPNs available, there are antiviruses available. So my suggestion would be to use those. Okay, you can buy it, they are not very expensive. So when we spend money, okay, or our organization spend money on protecting their data, okay, it is our duty to secure the data which is available on our smartphone. You do all your banking transactions, all your emails are there. So don't just keep it on like a facial recognition or anything, okay, or a two-factor authentication. Have other authentications like antivirus and VPNs added to your smartphones.
Thank you. I'll give you quick 3 points on the subject of protection. One, and first, most vulnerable piece of the complete system is human beings. So train, train, and train. Awareness, awareness, awareness. First. Second, today technology is well evolved to protect itself as long as you're able to patch. Of course, there are challenges around it, but things like two-factor authentication is a very powerful solution against most of the ransomware, especially your system administrators and all privileged users. If they don't use two-factor authentications, there are issues. If you possibly use FIDO2 standards, it will help you. Passwordless situation is better. I can go endlessly, but these are first few things which are in my mind. If you follow these only, and of course the patch and other things which I mentioned, these inclusive.
Yeah, thank you. Everyone brought in about patching, which is really very important, and especially about the OT security. It's a new domain in the market now, and that's where we have to really look in as to how do we really protect the OT security and OT networks, because we have a industry 4.0 coming up, and so many sensors which are already there in the OT network, and they're all getting connected to the cloud. So protecting them is a big challenge for especially people running the OT networks. And we have Mr. Kundu also there, and he's from the power, and where we are all seeing the power grid already all vulnerable when it comes to the cyber attack. And there was a recorded future paper which came up in the month of March, where they're told that 7 power grids in India, I don't know how far it's true, as per them, they're under the cyber attack of APT-41 under them, right? So that's the kind of situation. And the other main glaring point is, you have got only a window of 10 minutes to identify a cyber attack, right? And if you're not identifying that cyber attack within the first 10 minutes of it hitting you, it will take almost an average of 248 days to identify that as a data breach or a data leak, whatever terminology you may put, right? So that's the kind of situation we are in. Erstwhile, we were having the antivirus and the viruses which used to come one in 6 months or once in a year, and that was known to us, and antivirus will give us signatures. Now the malwares have become very intelligent. We were talking about the fileless malwares, we're talking of machine learning based malwares, right? And identifying these kind of malwares using your normal antivirus or anti-malware also, because they are signatureless. How do you really identify, right? And it's becoming a bigger challenge for the security, CISO especially, to identify these kind of malwares when they actually hit you in the network. And like I told you, you may put in everything, but if you're not able to identify within 10 minutes, you're gone. Now AI is really catching up, okay? And that's where we've been talking of the machine learning, deep learning, and lots of security professionals, developers getting into the machine learning part of it. I'll not talk the AI as a full-blown AI. I'm just talking of the machine learning part, right? Where we're making the data intelligent right now. So hackers alike are doing the same thing. They're trying to build up tools and especially the malwares, which are kind of not being detected by any of your security tools what we are using. That's why you see plethora of tools which are being put by any organization, starting from your perimeter security to application security, and still you find you have a cyber attack. There are vulnerabilities in the network, right? So my question to my august panelist is, with the AI coming in, how do you really think it's going to change the whole dynamics of the security professionals altogether? Yeah, over to you. A quick one so that we move ahead further.
Yeah. So as you are aware that with any technology, actually, it has got its the positive side as well as the negative side, be it nuclear technology or be it AI. And the way it is being used in cybersecurity, it is the same scenario. Like the defenders are also using into the security controls, the tools which we have. At the same time, the attackers are also using it to make their malwares more robust. They're training the malwares on the actual enterprise networks, and then they are making it more robust. So what is there? How do we actually take things and how do we view things? And what are the advantages of it? The first advantage is, like, once you are using AI, so it has got a learning engine in it. So it works on a lot of data actually, and based on data, it can analyze and find out the things which is nearly impossible for humans or for the security teams to do that. So it leads us to on an early detection of the threats. In fact, we can detect new threats, so which are not possible by the typical solutions like the antiviruses, which are basically the signature based. So once we analyze the data, these AI tools are able to identify the new threats. So that is what the advantage. It also helps in threat hunting. If something has happened, we want to actually take action, point out what has happened, so it can help on that. So therefore, the AI is there in most of the security solutions which are being projected. The EDRs, the XDRs, and other things are there. Yeah.
Yeah. I would again come back to my utility sector, and I believe At present in power utility, we are not using much of AI to detect the malware, but obviously one thing is from the protection perspective, if we want to use machine learning, we want to use AI, then the most important thing is retention of log. You have to have logs. You have to have logs from each of your periphery devices. Now we are setting up a SOC in our organizational SOC. We are trying to develop a lot of user behavior analysis. The standard UBA tools which are being used, or maybe NBAT tools which are being used, they are coming up with those machine learning capabilities and having certain automations. Again, the intelligence feed, like Sir has mentioned about recorded future, we have been impacted by these informations of recorded future. Now NCI IPC is coming up with their feed. So the intelligence feed, how you are basically, correlating the your behaviors, your SOC data with the intelligence feed, and try to have better correlation rule playbooks to detect certain anomaly behaviors which are maybe leading to the detection of your malwares present in your system. That will obviously help.
Yeah, thank you. So my point of view over here is when I see a antivirus or a XDR, okay, it is based on the virus is already there or malware is already there, and then there is a patch that is coming up and securing us from that malware. Artificial intelligence is much ahead on that. Okay, and the way it is going to help us is, okay, it is not going to see, there is no past records of those malwares, and based on the data available, okay, based on the machine learning, it will be more towards based on the inherent characteristics of the programs, okay, and not on the signature based. It is going to identify the malware. That is how I see artificial intelligence is going to help.
Thank you. AI, as far as AI goes, it is very easy for the criminals because they're providing cybercrime as a service and they know the behavior, set behavior of the users. So for their side, the game is easy. From our side, game is difficult. But the advantage of using AI in the cybersecurity environment is that it identifies each individual user or the machine behavior in very specific manner. So normal is now no more a network normal level. It is a normal to an individual or normal to a machine. And it then finds out that if there's a behavior change in the machine or in the human being, it then identifies that there is a problem and it leads to identification of the malware.
Yep, thank you. And it's called AI versus AI. That's the future, what we are going to be seeing, right? And it's a machine learning versus machine learning. And one quick question before we jump onto the EDR and the XDR part of it. How your organization is really aligning to the newer generation tools or the AI-based tools? If you can, throw light on that.
As I've already told that, as so far as my knowledge goes, as I work closely as a CERT grid operation with the LDCs and the power utilities, there are much, I don't find much of applications as on date so far as AI-driven tools are concerned in protecting our periphery, but we are working on development of SOC. We have implemented, we are working on developing various correlation rule. We are working on developing playbooks, and there are certain AI-based applications like network behavior analysis or user behavior analysis, which we are trying to develop. But obviously, as you can understand, most of the AI and the ML-based system work again on the volume of data, and we are yet to capture that much of a volume of data which we can give to the AI tools for, creating their own intelligence. So maybe 1 year down the line, I'll be able to share my more experience for that kind. But as on date, we are still on the learning curve, basically.
Yeah, Colonel, I am also on the same opinion as Amaya is. So, being a corporate and a service receiver, okay, not much into this area, so not exposed too much. So I think it is more from a OEM perspective, or maybe the companies who are into fintech or banking or insurance, maybe they are much at a maturity level, not in my industry.
Yeah, so there are companies like Elementrix, there's FireEye and CrowdStrike. They use AI in your UEBA, where user behavior is, as I mentioned earlier, it is user behavior, very individualized user behavior can be predicted, not predicted, analyzed, and the analysis tells you that whether this person is now behaving normally or abnormally. If abnormal is there, then it finds out. So AI now goes to very, very individual specific function of each thing, and slowly it's moving to service. Within service, it is moving to the action of that service, and that's how the direction which is presently the AI is taking in the cybersecurity preventive side. Of course, attack side, there's a much more advanced versions.
So I'll share how we have used actually the AI in our solutions. We have been using the solution, the EDR from the FireEye, and before that also we had the solutions like SIEM and other things. So it's an enterprise network, multi-location and multi-geographies. So a lot of data is being generated actually, and to make sense out of the data is a big problem. So this tool actually helped us to filter out a lot of noise and get an actionable input for us, like something suspicious where we need to put our energies and we need to analyze on that. And we find that if the indicators of compromise or something, it's malicious intent, or it is malicious in nature, then we were able to, with these tools, we were able to quickly identify the pattern and check on our network how it is spreading, where all it is spreading, which all networks it is spreading, and then also study what are its like how we can stop it. In the sense, if I know if it is utilizing a particular port or it is connecting to a C2, so all those preventive measures we can take. So it is very, very helpful actually, because otherwise it would not have been possible to analyze that data. So it is definitely going to be very, very helpful actually.
Yeah, interestingly, we talk of data, and if the data in AI, what we are feeding is wrong, it's going to create, havoc in the system. So ensure that whenever you talk of machine learning, that's a very good term, deep learning, right? But if the data is wrong, you're gone. And it may misbehave when you don't require it to misbehave. So that's the kind of challenge what we are going to have with the AI. Before I move to one last question and the presentation from Commander Saini, I just want to ask, the audience as to how do you look at the malwares? Because I want to hear from you as to how do you look at malware and the attacks on your organization, and anyone who wants to tell its success story or something out of the box, what they're working on. Anyone for that matter. Anyone had any tabletop exercise till now on how you're going to actually mitigate a malware attack or the ransomware attack? We've been talking of the ransomware. It's all over the internet. It's all over PDF papers, reports, conferences, people talking of it. But do we really done those tabletop exercises to actually drill down to the last person in the organization and see, are we ready for it? You're from the organization, so I want to know. No, from COE you will do it. No. I want to know the corporate guys.
Absolutely, a short of corporate you can say, because the state data center we
Yeah, please.
at least once in 6 months we do that.
I think it's really wonderful. Because I'm aware. I didn't want to hear from you because I know you do it very much. Yeah.
Beyond that, COEs.
Right. Perfect.
For the state data center and the SWAN, we do that.
Yeah.
And though it is not actually activity centric, it is more, you can say, documentation centric, because we actually have that ingrained into the CCMP, and we try to follow and make sure that everybody knows what to do.
Yeah. And very rightly, I'll tell you one thing. Wonderful what you're doing. I'll just tell you, because every attack starts with a phishing attack, and the phishing attack is one click, which you're going to get into an email, a phishing mail or a spear phishing mail, and that's the start point of it. And though we talk of it, but we have never practiced it, and we are all security professionals. I think if we have to take one thing back, that's what you should do is tell your management to do a tabletop exercise, because he may be your MD who will click on that mail, or he may be a last guy in your organization. It could be anyone, right? So, and the phishing mails are merciless, malwares are merciless, and these attacks are merciless. So that's where we are in the situation today. So I will hand over to Commander Saini for a quick presentation, and then we get back to the panel again on how do companies, what is practically happening is we're talking about malware, and we are having fileless malwares, and still companies with XDR, everybody talk of a XDR, we have got a XDR, I've got EDR. We are being hit by a malware attack. Why? It's a major point of concern, because these malwares are fileless malwares, they get embedded into your Windows operating system, it cannot be detected. And that's what, I don't want to take the sheen out of Commander Saini's presentation. We'll just stand on the side and, Commander Saini, over to you. Yeah, I think we can stand on the side. We'll stand here, okay, so that, you take it on. Yeah, please.
Thank you for giving me a quick opportunity. This is very important.
Yeah.
Leave it. So, I'll quickly go over this case. How many people here heard about SolarWinds attack? Good. So, the catch here is that SolarWinds attack is supply chain attack. SolarWinds, all those who do not know, is a company which is basically provides the network management tools and network configuration and other things, and along with that they provide the network security tools. One of their platform is called Orion platform. Now in that Orion platform, SolarWinds Orion platform is the one which talks and maintains the thing. Now just for the information, this system is used by anybody and everybody in US. Whether it is a military, whether it is a White House, whether it is a NASA, whether it is NSA, everybody uses SolarWinds for their network management and network security. And that's the size of this company. What the Russian did in this is, understand this, Russian did is they studied the system for years, and then they got into the patch. I'm not going because there's no time for that to get into the detail, but I can talk to anybody in detail. They get into the patch they release, we keep getting patches. So the patch is released. In the patch, there's a malware, very small, 3,500 line code. That's it. So this code went in, distributed everywhere. When distributed, it just opened the back door, signaled the people, we call beacon, signaled the command control center that I'm open, now send the malware. Or they send the next sets of malware, and then slowly all malware there. The best part is, these malwares were trained to do the communication as the SolarWinds does its own communication. So when the people were looking at line codes which are passing through to detect it, they couldn't find it because the terminologies and the line sequence and the communication tool were same used as the SolarWinds internal communication. So it was considered as internal communication, actually malware are communicating with each other. And it was detected, these are 3 organizations which are responsible for it. So they're all Russians, they managed to get into it, and they stayed there for reasonably long time. Can't see, okay. So you cannot see much, but can you see? Okay, good. So basically what I'm saying is anything and everything in the defense or government organization was compromised for months together, not days, months together. And including Microsoft, Red Eye, you name it, everybody was compromised. Okay, how it happened? Prior to August 2019, a small thing happened was somebody had a password which he used in the LinkedIn, that LinkedIn, remember LinkedIn once upon a time got compromised, all passwords got compromised. The SolarWinds guy used the same password. They identified that guy, they got into the system of SolarWinds and then established themselves in the SolarWinds completely over years, and then they carried out a proof of concept. They actually released a malware, checked that it got distributed, but they didn't do anything. Then they kept quiet for several months altogether. Then Feb, again they entered into the SolarWinds, and then they distributed. Now malware inserted, distributed. Imagine, Velocity identified it, that there is intrusion, but then they searched across, they couldn't find. Palo Alto Networks detected there is a problem, but they could not identify what is the problem. FireEye detected the intrusion, and how it detected is by mistake. What happened was, their lady who was at reception said, why you have entered the two telephone numbers in your profile. He said, no, I didn't. And only that part went to the CEO, who was ex-Air Force officer, who took charge of the whole thing. The hundreds of people sat and took them 1 week. But what happens to the malware? Now, watch this. Malware finally compiled version has been detected. The FireEye said, okay, I will now show you the decompiled version of this. He went, and it was a Zoom call. Everybody from the White House downward, everybody was online. He pressed the button to decompile, and the malware vanished in thin air. There's no trace left. No trace left. And the command and control server, they say that it is found in the Russia and all, but Russian says we didn't do anything. So that's how the multiple malware functions I was talking about. So there's not single, there's a series, they're structured and they interact with each other. Best of the XDR, best of the MDR, all failed. Single reason, one person has used the password again. Same password he used in the LinkedIn, same password in SolarWinds he used for his access. As simple as that. You may feel that it is not. Remember, human beings are most vulnerable entry point. Train, 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 keep training. Thank you. Good, I gave you the opportunity to have a tea.
Thank you, Commander Saini. It was really very inquisitive, and it actually opens a lot of questions in the mind as to where we are and how do we really stand. And the situation, what we all talk, is either we are attacked or we are going to be attacked by the cyber attack, right? So before we close, any questions which are there from the audience, would love to take on those questions. Any questions, anyone, please? It's a very yeah, I think I'll request, ma'am, it's a difficult question to answer here. Yeah, I'm a military man, so I'm always on time. Yeah, any questions, anyone? Yeah, please.
Could you speak something about the fake antiviruses?
Anyone wants to talk on that, please? Fake antivirus.
Okay, fake antivirus itself is a Trojan, first thing, right? And many websites, when you go, that website, especially the porn and the game sites, will tell you that your system is infected, download it quickly. So I feel like with a banking system, when you don't deposit money into anybody and everybody opened the bank, but you validate it, please validate before you use the antivirus. Don't click on the screen, it says that your system is infected, we'll clean it for you. And you click on it, then you're gone. Nobody will protect you. That is not an antivirus.
No, some cleaning apps also are the fake ones I get.
Say again?
some mobile cleaning apps also are kind of insecure viruses.
Yes, of course. They claim that they clean your system, but they'll clean you up.
Yeah.
So there are problems going on, and there is a serious problem.
Tell me the solution, please.
Solution is use proper one.
Okay.
Use authorized one. Use Kaspersky. Use McAfee. Use the certain which is sponsored for this event. Provide you free of cost if you don't want to spend. If you still want to use free of cost for personal use, use Komodo. But for the corporate use the paid versions. And XDR MDR is, let me tell you, 90% of successful attacks are due to known vulnerabilities. Known vulnerabilities are the one which are the reason of 90% of successful attack. XDR MDR is, of course, for the corporate is required part.
And sometimes we get self-downloading apps which unrequired ones, and they downloaded themselves on mobiles.
No.
So sir, like as you have said, like CC Cleaner was one app which has been banned actually. It was in the list of 53 apps which was banned by CERT India. So as rightly has been brought out, you need to purchase actually authentic antivirus for your mobile device, and you have to use that. That will be of really great help to you. So that is one thing which you can do. And what is your second question, sir?
Second question is, sometimes we get some
regarding this self-loading,
which we have not downloaded.
Yeah, so what happens is from the app actually. So app, specifically if we take these apps, let's say the Android system. So Android has its own security systems, and it has got these sandboxes, and there it is always advised that you download from the authorized app stores. The authorized app stores are like the Google Play for the Android, or for the Apple iStore is there. So you download the apps from there only. There are third-party app stores are there, which you actually cannot depend on there. So if you download some app from there and you install it, then there are chances of getting some infection. So that needs to be avoided.
And I'm not much technically into it, but I heard that AI itself is invading the privacy of everyone.
Sir, it is already...
That might be a paradoxical question. Please answer it.
So if you see, in the sense like if you see the devices you have, like Alexa you have in your houses or similar such devices, what they are doing actually? They are providing this support to you in the sense for easy living, but they are listening all this data, and they are only getting activated once you say there's all these keywords. However, they are actually listening everything. And then, so you have to be cautious. So everything actually is being monitored, as has been brought out by Dr. Das also.
Most of the introverts are in much trouble.
Yeah. So
what you are saying is actually exactly the thing that AI or whatever the AI-driven technologies basically are taking your data, your social presence, everything, and basically analyzing those data and giving you the output. So you will find that every day in, day out, suppose you searched for some specific product. Say you are going to buy a TV. You search for the TV in Google or in Amazon. Then in your mail, everywhere you will find ads of TV. So that is how these things have been tuned. So that is the session of data privacy, etc. But the more important thing is now you cannot avoid that. You can protect yourself, number one, or you can minimize the impact. So the less you share things, your personal data, your personal things in the social media, less you are, active on those things. And basically you must distinguish two things, what has also said, that whenever your presence as a person for doing research, etc., your presence as that person and your presence for specific, say, banking transactions, etc., must have two different distinguished, presence altogether, with identity, with password, everything different. So that, even if the hackers get your information, cannot intrude to your private properties. Basically.
One, whatever you're doing on the internet or any social media, everything is indelible. Whatever the digital footprints what you're leaving can be used against you, okay? And whatever data you think you've deleted, it's never deleted. So with that kind of situation, you are in a vulnerable time, and it can be used, that data, even after 10 years, 20 years, in favor of you or in favor of you. You know, and the other thing is, next time whenever you go for a US visa, don't be surprised they check in your LinkedIn account or a Twitter account, and they may deny you the visa application because of some radical comments which you would have posted on LinkedIn or Twitter, or independently liked it also. So this is the power of AI, machine learning, and data, you know, how they are falling into you. So we are in a testing time, and a future is all there. So thank you very much. Any other question? Any panelist has got any audience? Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
A very legit thing he has added, like regarding the mobile application perspective. Like recently, if you search anything in Google, like on WhatsApp, Google search engine regarding any mobile application. So earlier Google is not comply with us even that ad is actually furnished by which entity. So now at time what is happening, like if you search any application on Google Play Store as well on Google search engine. So at the corner you can see 3 buttons. If you click that thing, you can see exactly that application sponsored basically from which country. And you'll surprise exactly there are very application that is not from India. It's look like Indian application, but they are majorly from non-friendly countries. It could be any like Nigeria, China, or something like that. So that is also a major concern. And no doubt, initiation point is there, the attack initiation, that application, and later it's go for various things like may it collect various information. It could be your images, it could be your SMS OTPs, like if they have a permission only to read SMS, nothing, no need to worry about your data. SMS OTP only. If they have a permission and the hackers do something at night time and they immediately delete those SMS, even though there's nothing like any incident, then you will say that I'm a CEO of some company, I didn't receive any mail, any OTP, what is bank is doing. So during this thorough analysis through I4C, like in the Ministry of Home Affairs in I4C, we found these traces as well. It's a serious concern to know. So the point which I would like to highlight again, any application, if you search on Google search engine, you can verify it exactly it's from which country. Then only you can able to install or you see the things basically.
Thank you, very pertinent point, Dr. Deepak. And that's where the Jamtara cases actually, emanate from.
It's not only Jamtara. Jamtara to 8-10 साल पुराना case है.
Yeah.
Jamtara is very old. वो अभी fame में है. Jamtara से ज़्यादा तो
new Jamtara.
So you see, भरतपुर, नूह, मेवात, ये तो अभी 4 साल पहले entities निकले. ऐसे मतलब जो चीजें नहीं हैं न्यूज़ में, तो it doesn't mean that वहाँ पे चीजें नहीं.
Yeah, that's right.
Things are there even like
the threats are emerging.
Correct.
Their tactics are being changed by the criminals. I'll not say hackers; they're all criminals. So
completely right.
They are all changing their tactics. So one last question from you.
Sir, I have a question like that. Whenever any incident is happening, we are rushed about to update the patches. But my question is whether it's a good practices to update the patches immediately after the incident, because sometimes whenever we are updating the patches, it's opening the back door for the hackers. So what is the best time to update the patches?
So first and foremost, I should say, whenever there is an incident, it's, I don't know, updating the patches after the incident is not exactly what is recommended. Because first and foremost thing you need to do is, for forensic, you have to collect all the data. You have to have the image backup, you have to have the memory dump, all those things you should do. You should isolate the system if the system is detected. The most difficult part of this is basically whenever we find an incident, it's very difficult to detect what exactly is the source. Now, if you can detect the source, you isolate that source from your network, if possible. And then obviously there are restoration process which may be laid down in your CCMP and all others. Patch update should be a regular activity. It should not be as basically event triggered activity that, okay, there is an incident, then do the patch update. It should be a regular activity, but as I have already told, I know industry has challenges on updating the patches, whether auto update is possible or not. So I don't think the time will permit to discuss that issue altogether. But to answer your question, I would suggest rather you develop a process which should be followed.
As preventive, I am asking, sir. But what happens sometimes, you have a system that is not latest versions. So when you are going to update it, they are asking for go for the latest version and pay the something. For that preventive, what type of prevention for that?
I think we'll take it offline, but I'll just tell you simple thing. Everything has got an end of life now. Nothing is forever. And whatever is end of life, you cannot update it thereafter, right? And it's all subscription model. Earlier we used to have software which once you buy it, it will run forever. Now, even after a month or a year, whatever your subscription, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You have to really pay to get onto it. And that's how the companies are really surviving. That's their business model. So you can't just say that give it free to me now, okay? And updating patches is always update patch before the incident, not after the incident, right? And test the patches. If you are working in a critical infrastructure, don't just blindly update the patch. Test the patch in a sandbox environment and then only put it into that system. So with that, any other question if you have, otherwise we'll close it. We are bang on 5. Yeah. 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 And we'll take the questions offline. We are bang on 5 o'clock, I think. We have to hand over back to Sushovan and Sukanya. So thank you very much. Thank you all my panelists for a wonderful discussion. It couldn't have been possible with all the insights what you have given, and thank you for all the audience for the wonderful questions. Thank you very much.
And with that, we come towards a very successful completion of our panel discussion on the resolutions against sophisticated malware attacks, which is quite a factor now since everybody is using laptop. This is a problem which everybody faces. And now I would like to also thank our panel speakers and our moderator. A great round of applause for all of them. I would now request Colonel Inderjit Singh ji to present a memento to our panel speaker, Dr. Rajesh Kumar Palji. Can we have a great round of applause, please? To Dr. Rajesh Kumar Palji. Mr. Anwaya Bilas Sengupta ji. A great round of applause, please. Mr. Saurabh Gupta. And Commander Mukesh Saini ji. Thank you so much, sir. And also, yeah. No. And now I would be requesting Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das ji to please present a memento to our moderator, Colonel Inderjit Singh ji. A great round of applause.